here we are in the shop. In this project, I'm making some Christmas presents, some chopping blocks for cheese, meat, hors d'oeuvres. Back in my childhood, my paternal grandmother used to have a lake house, like a kind of a camp on the side of Lake George in upstate New York, and a big focus was hors d'oeuvres and sitting around, hanging out, having good conversation, and chopping things. So I found this piece of reclaimed oak, and went to making some simple kind of cutting boards. Really, I like to make presents that appeal to people's nostalgia. And I know that my siblings appreciate that. I think the year before this I made them candles that I tried to make smell like my grandmother's lake house, which didn't work out so well. Cocktail onions and juniper berries don't always last, even in wax. So here I am gluing up a couple of these simple chopping blocks. I laid some cardboard down there, keep the glue off the table. Now I'm cutting the miniature cleaver shapes out of some C-channel, and that's one of those diamond cutting blades. It's supposed to last, I don't know, like 20 times as long as a normal blade, normal cut-off wheel. And I'm surrounded by rustic furniture that has not yet been assembled. Okay, so this vise that I'm working on here was completely disconnected from its stand.
This thing is sad.
You don't like the big Olympia?
No, not the fact that it rotates like this.
People are going to watch this and be like, you are so unsafe. That's okay.
So that was my cousin Jeremy. He's my consultant on these projects. So the drill press didn't work there. It was moving too quickly. If you drill through metal too quickly, the bit dulls, heats up, melts the end. So I had to go back to the hand drill. And this is all sped up. This is, I think, 400 or maybe 600% speed. So, tracing out the knife scales, as it were. Making some relief cuts. Make those little corners a little easier. There, cut it in half. Little test fit. And by now these things are all glued up and ready for a little TLC. Yep. A little planing. And I'm showing just one or two of each, but I made 4 of these chopping blocks and 4 matching cleavers to go with them. But for the sake of time, already condensing 8 hours into this 16, 17 minute video, I didn't need to show all 4 every time. So I'm just trimming up the ends here. Now this is perhaps not the most safe setup, but this was before I had any kind of blade sharpening. equipment. So of course I have eye protection, ear protection, leather gloves, and everything's all clamped down. This wire wheel is in a lot of my projects, and you'll see that it loses its tines now and then. They go flying off into your arm. So now I'm cutting out the mounts that the cleavers will mount to. Just cleaning up the edges of those on the wire wheel again. There they are. And each one needs to have a hole drilled through one end, so I'm just measuring that out here. And I foolishly tried to do this without any kind of a stopper in place. Of course, lost the other three there. These flap discs, they're something else. And in lieu of belt sander, they did a good job getting the blades down to where they needed to be and removing all the outside metal layers from them. Just gonna glue one side on at a time here, so that the holes that are in the metal handle can be drilled through each wooden side. Now I'm deciding where the knives will be placed on each chopping block, and I think I went a little off center on purpose, just to leave room if there's a big block of cheese or something. You don't want the knife right in the middle. A little more epoxy. And I had a really rough time. With this first little post, trying to get that in there. In retrospect, I probably should not have bothered with the mallet, soft-headed mallet. As you can see, I used another block of oak there to get it through. Got to be careful with the music not to demonetize these videos. Too much song and it all goes away. So here I am thinking I'm going to glue on the other side of the knife scales, and I need to drill those holes out. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to see where they are. So, one more epoxy side, and we're all set. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Skipped ahead there a little bit. I'm just taking off the blades to avoid cutting myself when I went to sand down these handles. There's a lot of epoxy that had to come off. And then I took the wood down to close to where the metal is. I'm just measuring the handle widths for some brass posts to go through, and this not the best method here. Fortunately, brass is very malleable, melts quickly, and it's very soft. So now I've got 4 handles to do, 2 posts per handle. So I'm just drilling through the other side that's already pre-drilled through that second side of the handle, and then pounding these posts through just for stability. And I use super glue here, but I think in general epoxy is the way to go. I probably had run out at that point, so I'm just taking down the rest of the excess epoxy and all the corners of those. I think that was poplar that I used for the handles. And it's kind of hard. Something that you don't want to do with a palm sander. Looking pretty good. And here I tried to use a, well, this looks like one. I think I must have gone through about 6 of those sanding wheels on the Dremel. They would get to a certain point, and then they'd just be smooth. All the grit would be gone, and they start to burn everything they touch. So I'm just shaping the rest of that wood down to where the metal is. And, yep, it's a handle. Here I'm trying to use a grinding bit on the Dremel to remove the excess epoxy from where it meets the blade. But this really didn't work well. There's a lot of epoxy, and I think I eventually ended up going with a scraper. There it is, which worked a lot better. I need to ask someone who makes knives how to avoid all that excess epoxy right there. It's not great. I'm pretty pleased with myself at this point. So then the trick is to attach these to the chopping blocks. If you're familiar with the common cheese cutting chopping blocks, they all have a little wire. And the wire slices down through the block of cheese. I wanted something a little more robust, a little more unique. So here it is. Of course, I didn't factor in that square corner. Figures. You just round down the corner of this first one here and see how it goes. Beautiful. Apparently I'd never heard of clamps. Again, in retrospect, I think I would try to pound that little brass post down so that it didn't need those pins. But this way it's removable and washable, which is key. Also, being raw steel at this point, those knives need to be oiled with mineral oil every couple weeks, months, however much they get used. So now I'm just using a tiny wire wheel to clean up all the extra epoxy around that post and getting started on the second knife. I didn't like using the bandsaw to cut that brass before, so switched to the Dremel. Those 1/16 inch bits, they are fragile. You see a bend there. There we go. I discovered vice grips that time. Using my Jimmy DiResta pencil throughout the project. It was full of ideas. Time to clean up these blocks. Expedited view. A lot of extra epoxy in there. I filled all the cracks that I could find. And I'm not sponsored by anyone, obviously. Second video here, but that's a little Bernzomatic torch. Just to put a little texture in there. A little Shusugiban texture. Just to give the chopping blocks a little more character. And this is chopping block wax. In a lot of videos, actually. Food grade. But I've seen a lot of people use that butcher block wax. Plus it's a nice little reveal here. Look at that. Look at that grain. So nice. Just really smoothing down those handles. This will seal it too. So you can run those underwater, whatever. I think I ended up doing about 3 more coats. And now I'm obviously going to be engraving this with the Dremel again. This is one of the first projects that I built under the bernbuilt name, so I was pretty happy to scribe my name in there. One, two, three, 4. Thanks for watching, guys.